When Avoka's form designers lay out a form, they typically do it in a number of stages. The first stage is to get some sort of overall structure to the form. We usually do this by adding in all of the sections. In this particular form that you're seeing, I'm only showing a single section. The next thing we do is we just drag and drop as reasonably quickly the individual fields into the form without worrying too much about how those fields are going to be laid out. So I'm going to do that now quickly. You may have seen this in previous demonstrations. I'm going to select a title field and an optional extra field of type text field, which I'm going to put immediately after that one for other, if your title is not one of the standard ones. I'm then going to drag in a first name and a last name. And what Composer does by default is lay those fields out just straight down the page. Now, you can use this form as is, but usually you'll want to modify the way that the form looks in order to satisfy usability or style guidelines. And what I'd like to start doing is showing you how you can modify the layout of the fields in this way. The first thing to notice is that by default, all sections within Composer use what is called a vertical flow layout. And what that means, the vertical flow layout is set up on the container, in this case on the name field, on the name section. And what it means is that the fields as they appear will simply be laid out vertically down the page. Now that may work, but there are a few tweaks that we can do should we want to. One of them, for example, we might double click on the other field to get its properties, go to the Layout tab and say, I would like this field to be kept on the same line as the one that precedes it. Voila. I might do the same thing for the last name. And I've got a slightly more compact form. I may also want to lay out my fields in such a way that I give as much space as possible to these fields going across the page. We generally discourage setting the widths of fields explicitly, although you can do that, and we will cover that in an advanced session. Rather, we try to use Composer or give Composer hints that tell Composer how to lay it out. And I will explain why this is important later. So let's give the user of this form as much space as we can to fill in their first and last names. So the easiest way to do that is to give Composer a hint on the first name on the Layout tab that says allow this field to fill, to expand, to fit all this horizontal space that's available to it on its own line. So we'll set that to horizontal. And what we see is immediately that field expands to use up all of the free space available. Now, if I do the same thing on last name, then the two fields will be competing for the space on that line, and they'll each get 50% of the space. But the good thing is that we're getting as much space as we can fit within the bounds of this page. Now, why is this a good thing? And the reason is very simple. If I add another field, such as a middle initial, between first name and last name, and also make middle initial keep on same line, without layout fill in this case, because usually the middle initial is very small, SmartForm Composer automatically resets the spacing of first and last name, and there's nothing that you need to do in order to readjust them in order to accommodate this new field that's been put in between them. And that really is the beauty of layout managers. It takes away a lot of the maintenance work from you. It's not about getting it right the first time, it's about making changes and making sure that they're accommodated very easily. In subsequent video demonstrations, we'll show you some more advanced techniques that give you even more fine control of exactly how to perform layouts.